Hey guys, welcome back to another video from the Python tutorial series. Today we'll be going over manipulating files in Python. So first of all, let's just make a new file and save it. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to make a new folder, and I'd recommend you do this as well. You'll see why. So I made a folder, I've called it learning 12, and I'll call this learning 12.py. So, let's get into this. There are three modes which you need to know about how you can open a file. And so let's just say we have a text file and we want to read from it. So I'll just make one quickly here. So you can just open a notepad and just make some sort of text file. Hello world, and then save it somewhere. So save it in the same folder as the Python file is, So I'm just going to call this test_file.txt for now. And so it's got these two lines in it. And so I may as well keep this open for now. So what we can do now, at the start of our Python file, let's just say my file is equal to open the file name, including extension, remember that, comma, and then for now r in quotes as the second argument. So what exactly is going on here? So first of all, what this open thing does here is it will open the file name you specify in the mode that is specified here. And so this R means read mode, which is reading stuff from the file. And the reason we set this to a variable is so we can talk about it here. So now we've opened this file now. It's open in our thing, and we can talk about that by saying my file. So let's just do something very simple for now. Let's just say print my file dot read lines, and you should from this be able to see how this works. So as you can see, it's printed this out, and you should be able to recognize this is a list with two strings in it. And here, I don't know if I mentioned it before, this is a new line, which if we look at here, there is in fact a new line. And so that's an important thing to remember. When you're reading in lines, not each item in the list is a line. It is, but it doesn't have the new line with it. It doesn't understand that it puts a new line here. It's just in the string before it. So yeah, so you should be able to see from that how this works. You've just read in these lines. Do know you can only read in something once. So if I were to say this command again, it won't. You see, it's just printed an empty list because I've already read these in. So the idea would be you would say something like file contents is equal to my folder read lines, and then you've just got a list of it or something. So there are a couple other things you can do with this. So you can just put it in a list if you want, and just get all of it out, put in a list. But then something else useful you can do is kind of cut out the middleman and just say for item in my file, or really I should say line. And then this will loop through all of the lines in my file. And also, once again, remember this does eat them, basically. And you see there are two new lines here, actually, if you look. That's because print automatically puts a new line after it prints. Plus, there's this one here. So something else you can do as well is say my file dot read line here, no s, just line, and then this will literally just read in the next line. So you can see it's just read in that. And also do observe it does eat the lines again. And then when it gets to the last one, it prints an empty string. Sorry, it returns an empty string if there's nothing left. So that's reading. Useful if you want to look at what's in a file. Pretty simple. You get a list with read lines. You just get the next item as a string with read line, and then you can just loop through it with a for loop as if it was a list or something. Just by saying item in my file. So now let's get on to the interesting bits. Oh, also something you should know is that you should always close your files once you're done with them. Just with my file close. This becomes more important when you're writing files. So let's go on to the next mode here, which is write mode. So let's say, first of all, this test file didn't exist, so I'll just delete that. So yeah, I'll just delete this file. Okay, it's open. Yeah, as you can see, it was open in Python, so it was fighting me. So if I run this and let's just put a mark file.close at the end. So if we then run this file, you can see that it hasn't printed anything simply because we haven't told it to. And if we go in here and have a look, you can see this file is now here, but it's empty. We haven't put anything here. So, so what I'm trying to show by saying that is that if I open something in write mode and it doesn't already exist, it will make it. So what I can do now is I can write some stuff to here. So first of all, simplest one, my file.write. And so what this does is this writes a string to the file. So I can say hello, back to n for a new line, world. And as you can see, I run this, open this file, this is now there. So what you can also do is write lines. So instead of having one string, you've got a list of strings here. Oh, wait. You've got a list of strings. And remember, it doesn't automatically do new lines. And if you notice, as I'm making these changes, so let's just get rid of that to show. Yeah, so as you should be noticing, everything in the file is getting overwritten each time. So if I set this to, and yes, this can be a list with one item, but at that point you may as well just say write. So let's just say letter A, put that in, close and reopen it. You can see it's just overwritten everything in here. But let's say we just want to add something on. What we can do is we can swap this W to an A, which is ironically some letters there. And that, now I'm in append mode. So you can see this file's just got an A in it. Run it again. There's 2 A's. Run it again. 3 A's. And so on. So append mode doesn't, you can write to a file, but it doesn't overwrite what's already there. It just sticks bit on the end, which is a lot like if this was a list, you could just do .append and it adds an extra item to the list. That's what append mode is like. And always make sure you close the file. Yeah, so that's basically it for files. You really need to know not very much. So for a quick summary, there are 3 modes you can open things in. Read mode, you can do file.write read line or read lines, and that simply reads in one line as a string or all of the lines as a list of strings. Sorry. My_close just stops opening the file, which is especially important on Windows because it's got a stupid file managing system where only one program can have a file open at once. So then you can also change this to W to be write mode, where you can then say write line, or actually it's not write line, it's just write, or write lines, and then you pass in either a list of string with write lines, a list of strings, or if it's just write, you just pass in a string. And if you read in a file, you don't have to put it into a list. You can actually just loop through it by saying for line in my file colon whatever code you want to do, and that will just let you do it as if it's a list or something, which is useful. And then finally there's append mode, which is just the same as write mode, except it doesn't overwrite what's already there. Write mode will completely restart from the beginning with the file. It will get rid of everything. As append just sticks things on the end. If you attempt to open a file in write mode that doesn't already exist, it will create it. In append mode, it will also create it. But in read mode, it will throw an exception because that file doesn't exist. So append or write, it will make the file if it doesn't already exist. So that's files. Fairly useful in general programming. Might come up in your exams. It's on the cheat sheet in the description. Might come up. Fairly useful to know if it does come up. One big thing to remember: this open feels like the sort of thing that would be a library or something. Like you have to import files or something, but you actually don't. This is just in normal Python. In contrast to like math or whatever, right? Those are modules, you have to import them. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you know how to use files now. Like and subscribe or something. Goodbye.